Life has felt very serious, and adulting can be so ghetto sometimes. I failed at Costco again. I was in there for over an hour. You know you old when you taking shots of ginger instead of shots of vodka or tequila.
Girls do not. Okay, they play games.
They don't?
You are playing with me?
Hey party people, welcome back to my channel. Today is Saturday. I'm trying to get the sun. Listen, it's the 8th. Today is February 8th. Thank you, TJ. And we are making our way into the gym. We are gonna go get our workout on. It is super beautiful outside. As you can see, I don't even have a jacket on. It's gonna be 80 plus degrees today. And then the boys have, well, Blake has swim lessons, and yeah, we'll see where else the rest of the day takes us, because I'm not really sure actually. To go grab some food. We just finished up at the gym. The boys swam for a while. Blake took his swim lesson, and so we're gonna go get some food and then we're gonna head home. We actually took the tops off because it is gorgeous outside. It's gorgeous. Alright guys, so we're gonna go try out this new spot. It's called Salata, and they sell salads. So I actually wanted to get a salad. My first time here. Oh, you just build it. Ooh, that's cool. No, you're getting chicken. Yeah. Mommy's getting a salad. Hi, how are you? Okay, so I'm going to start with the Salata mix. Right? Regular.
To go?
To go.
To go.
Yes. At the end. A little bit of spinach. That'll be good. Why not? Thank you. That's good. Poured all that because it was very overwhelming. I had to focus. I had to focus. Y'all, I couldn't even record because I had to focus. It was a lot. Like, it was a lot of pressure. We got like $20 salads. They better be bomb. But I don't even care. I'm like excited. This is our first time here. Let's go crazy. All right. I can't wait to taste this $42 salad. That'll be the best salad I ever had.
This y'all.
Heavy, I know. It's like they get you mad food. Like if it ain't had no dressing on, I probably would eat it for the next 3 days. Shoot. Yummy. Did you enjoy your lunch?
We're gonna clean up. You gotta put all the stuff on there.
I enjoyed it.
Put that trash, put that receipt on there. Dump this in the silver and put the bowl next to the other one.
I almost overate. If I ate one more chicken, I would have overate.
I know. That was good, right? Hey party people. As usual, I am in the car, okay? So I'm on my way to the doctor. I've had several doctor's appointments. The year is starting out just exactly how I planned. I set a goal for myself to kind of, you know, not catch up, because I wouldn't say that I don't go to the doctors, because I do. But I just wanted to get all of like my appointments out the way.
Go past the stop sign. Then at the next one, turn right.
Out of the way. So yeah, so I have an appointment this morning. But how are you guys doing today? I'm chewing this gum and it is not good. And after a while, it frankly just hurts my mouth from chewing. I don't know. But anywho, your girl has been trying to be as consistent as possible, and I hope that you're enjoying the vlogs. It's been a roller coaster of a ride, just, you know, up and down, trying to figure out what's next in life. And I've been enjoying vlogging. This is my passion. This is what I said in the first vlog, of just like getting back to why I started my YouTube channel in the first place. And yeah, it's been awesome. But it's also been work, and I enjoy it. But I'm just hoping to eventually start seeing some of the rewards of my work. Okay. But yes, your girl is knee deep in the job hunt at the moment, and honestly I haven't had any bites as of yet. You know, it's really hard, like when you have gaps in your employment, and I always say it's easier to find a job when you already have a job versus trying to find a job when you don't. I don't know why. And even when I got my last job last year, I was like, you know what? I won't ever do this to myself again. I'll always have a job. I'll just go from, if I don't like a job, I'll just get a new job. And then last year hit, and it was just a whirlwind of things happening all at once. And it kind of changed my outlook, and I went into self-preservation mode, y'all. And that's how I ended up unemployed again. So basically what happened was, like, it was a really busy year, and my job that I had last year, I started out as a contractor, then I was hired permanent into a role that I've always desired to be in, right? So I was very excited about that. But what I realized is that I did not feel like I was being paid appropriately for the job that I was doing, number one. Number two, it was, the volume of work was just so extremely overwhelming. It was the equivalent of doing like the job of two people, and I was just one person. And then on top of that, there was no development happening whatsoever. And I was in a brand new role, you know, which is fine. I mean, I feel like a lot of times, like, managers just want you to already know, and that's okay, because I'm a quick learner. I definitely did the job and did it well. But at the same time, I still wanted some more development. But because the volume of work was just so high, and there were just so many changes being made, and my leader was new, I was new, basically our whole entire team was new except for one person. And I just so happened to be overseeing the largest unit. So whereas everyone else was managing probably about, you know, 1,500 to 2,000 employees, I had 4,600 employees. And it just seemed like the company overall never really focused truly on training and developing their managers. And so it was just a lot of work. And one thing about me is I don't mind doing the work, but I also feel like that there is a necessity for quality of life and work-life balance and mental wellness and all of that. And that job just wasn't fully supportive of that. Like, if they could work me from 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, they would, but I had boundaries. And so for that reason, I drew my boundaries. But what that meant is that, like, it was just impossible for me to do it all. You know, it kind of felt like I was in like this situation where I wasn't really being set up for success. And so that's fine, you know, because at the same time, like I said, I was in a new role. You know, there's always going to be a learning curve. There's going to be a grind associated with every job. But it was getting to the point where it was becoming like, I don't know, it was affecting my mental health. And so my grandmother had passed away in May of last year. And when I truly realized that this job just was not it wasn't the proper workplace culture for me, is when, like, I told them that, you know, my grandmother passed away. And then, like, one of the girls that I worked with, like, reached out to me and was still giving me work. And I was like, but I'm off, like, you know. And it was just like, it was really rough. And it was like, at that point I had to kind of like make a decision. And then they tried to give me a project in the middle of me moving, and they knew that I was moving. You know, I gave ample notice. It was not something that I sprung on them. I was like, hey, look, I'm gonna be relocating across the country. taking a week and a half off, you know, and I had the time, so it wasn't like I was using time that I did not have. I had the time. I was like, I'm gonna, you know, take this time off, and they assigned me like a major project like 2 days before I left, before I took my time off, and I told them that I did not have the bandwidth for it because I already had like 5,000 other items that I needed to close up before I went away for that week and a half, so I could move in peace. And yeah, it wasn't an ideal situation, and you know, I wasn't totally like blown away by my leadership, and it was just like, you know, it was just one of those things. It was a learning moment, and for me, I just said like, hey, like I can't be at work 100% and be at home, and I have kids, and we were moving, and you know, it was just so many moving pieces, and I'm one person, and I was like, you know, like I just had to pray on it. And I was like, I talked to my husband, I was like, look, God bless me with this job, I will find another one, but I just can't do it all. Like, and instead of burning myself out, I took the time, and I needed that time, and my husband was fully on board with it. And so because the original plan was for me to just work a contract role for 6 months anyway, and then take the summer to acclimate to where we were moving to, because we knew we were moving, we just didn't know where at that time. So that was the original plan anyway, and so it just so happened that they had a permanent position pop up, and I applied for it, and I got it, and you know, blah blah blah. So anywho, I just feel like now, you know, in hindsight, I'm like, maybe I should have grinded through it and maybe looked for a job while I was still working that job, because now I'm in a position where like financially I need to get a job, like, you know. And so I've been just praying on it and doing the work, you know. I'm not one of those people who just pray and don't take no action. So I've definitely been doing the work too, and just trying to make sure that I'm staying focused and keeping my head where it needs to be, making sure my resume is up to date, making sure that I'm prepared for interviews whenever I do get an interview. My next step is to start reaching out to some of my friends, because you know, sometimes they say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And you know, I've worked in HR my whole career, so I do know a couple of people. So I'm gonna do that and see where things go. Hello, Deja G here, and y'all, it is Monday morning. I edited a vlog last night, y'all, and I truly realized that my mood has been in the trash can. Yeah, my mood has been really low. I've actually been struggling with a lot of anxiety lately, and I've been doing my best to try to manage it, but your girl is struggling, and I don't know why my camera moved over like that, but I've been struggling. So, you know, that's just me keeping it real. What you're gonna get from me always is the real, okay? And I feel like I think I've always had anxiety my whole life, but I think I've managed it really well. And I don't think I was really truly aware of it. I've always been shy, but I can still think back on the first time in my life that I had, like, it probably was a panic attack, and I didn't even know it because I was so young. But I remember I actually went to the hospital, and it was when my little sister was being born. My mom was in the hospital. I was with my grandmother, and I went into this whole like fit of telling my grandmother I could not swallow. And I still remember it like it was yesterday. I was only 8 years old, guys. Like, I was about to turn 8. Yeah, and I just remember telling her, like, I couldn't swallow. So she took me to the hospital, of course. And, of course, there was nothing wrong with me. But I think that was, like, probably the first time in my life that I experienced, like, an anxiety episode, right? Now, I have not had panic attacks as an adult or anything like that. But what I've noticed is that I do get anxious. I've always been shy, but I do get anxious. And after having my second son is when the anxiety, like, ticked up for me. Like, I feel like it's been kind of laying dormant for like a good portion of my life. But I feel like, you know, I had my second son during COVID, and, you know, that was stressful in itself and scary, and, you know, it was just a lot going on. And I just remember, like, one of my coworkers, her husband died from COVID, and that just terrified me. And then, you know, it was just like several different things that kind of just like put me in this anxious state. So since then, I feel like I've dealt with anxiety a lot more than I ever have in my entire life. However, like I said, when I think back on being a child, I do feel like the signs were there. So now I feel like I am fighting for my life out here, y'all. I'm not having panic attacks or anything like that. And I don't know if I've ever had a panic attack as an adult. I just feel like this anxiety creeps up in my mind, and then it's like shit gets really weird really fast. And it's like I have to kind of, one thing about me is I'm a very rational person. I'm a very like, let me just think this through, I can figure it out kind of person. And I don't know if that has helped me to manage my anxiety over the years, because I don't typically get caught up in like the whole, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I feel like that brings me back down. But lately, with the state of the world, y'all, and all the factors that are considered, this anxiety has been the worst that I've ever experienced, and it has been kicking my ass. I think there's a lot of factors in my life right now that just feel so like not out of control, because I'm not a control freak, but I just don't feel in control right now of my life, of my kids' livelihood, of all different kinds of things, you know? And so it has been very, very hard for me, guys. And that's one of the reasons why, like I said, I canceled my flight back home. Because I just, you know, my anxiety just was creeping up. Another thing about me too is I am a very intuitive person. So like I trust myself, I trust my gut, I trust, you know, a lot of the thoughts that I have. My intuition has never led me astray. So with that being said, it's like I've just had this really bad feeling lately of just the world being like a shit show, and it's like I can't shake it. And I still feel like I'm like not even. Look, I can't park, y'all, to save my life. I always say, ever since I got in an accident in my husband's car, I have like no idea of spatial. It's like I don't want nobody hitting my car either. But anyway, so yeah, lately things have been just feeling very much out of control. I've been going to all my doctors. I like literally had a doctor's appointment every single day except for Friday last week. And this week I have an appointment every day except for Friday again. Today I have my dermatologist appointment, but that's just for a facial. Tomorrow I have to take TJ to the orthodontist, and then they also have haircut appointments because they do spring and fall photos at school. I was like, yo, these school picture people be trying to like hustle. And then it's probably so crazy because looking at your kids in the fall when they first start school versus the spring is probably two totally different experiences. Like they probably look like different kids. And so I'm going to have to buy the pictures again, you know, like whatever. Anyway, so Tuesday we have that. Then Wednesday I have a follow-up with my primary care doctor, because I did this in-depth physical, and I don't even know if I don't remember if I talked about it. I don't think I did, but I did this physical that they do here, which is like awesome. They do like all of these different tests to kind of make sure like all of your organs are functioning properly. It's a full body ultrasound. They have all these different tests to kind of check certain things. And then, oh snap, I think I have 2 appointments with them this week. I actually think the appointment that I have is for y'all, I actually think this one is like a scan. I think this one is different than I thought. So anyway, I have an appointment with my primary care doctor on Wednesday, just as a follow-up or as a secondary part of the exam. I forgot I still got one more part of the exam left. So they do this thing where they look at your brain and they stick these things on your brain or whatever, and they make sure, like, they can test if you have like ADHD. What else? They can also look at whether or not you have, what is the other thing they can check for? Alzheimer's, I think. I don't know. They can look at some stuff. I don't really know what else. And then they also do the blood work. It's like all these things. So I got that done. And, I just want to go over all my results and stuff. So I have that on Wednesday. Then Thursday, I know that was very long-winded, y'all. But anyway, I have a follow-up to my physical in some capacity, whether or not it's the second part of it or the actual going over the results, whatever. But anyway, so then on Thursday, I have an appointment with my therapist. Hallelujah. Because your girl needs to go talk to her therapist, okay? Because life has been lifing, and I just have not been processing things well. And one thing about me is I have always had my grandmother to help me break things down, and she's not here anymore because she passed away last year. And y'all, this is the first big life event I've had to go through without her, and I don't know how I'm supposed to do this. Think about her all the time, every day, because I'm like, yo, if she was here, she would definitely just tell me, like, hey, this is what you need to be worried about. This is what you don't need to be worried about. And instead, I'm out here fighting for my life by myself, y'all. I always remind myself I'm grateful I had her for as long as I did. And, that's just the rational side of me. But the emotional side of me is like, oh, my God, like, I need my grandmother. Like, I just want to throw a little tantrum like a little baby. But I miss her so much. So yeah, so life has been lifing. But my goal now is to pretty much just focus on bringing life like back around full circle, trying to insert some happiness into my life and trying to figure out what is next, right? And what is within my control, and focusing on just trying to, make the best decisions for the things that are within my control. And some of those things include, let me think about this. Some of those things include fitness, right? I've gained weight. I've noticed, like, especially with this vlog, and this has made life really real for me, y'all, because I can see how puffy my face is, how, I need to lose like 10 pounds at least. Really more like 15, but I ain't trying to look like no crackhead. So, but I probably really need to lose like 15 pounds. And then on top of that, I also need to just kind of start doing some things that do not involve screen time and social media. I need to like pick up a hobby or something that is constructive and, something that I can start learning from, maybe even learn a new language, something along the lines of that, And so those are the things that I need to start focusing my energy on instead of like doomsday scrolling, because that's what I feel like I do all day is doomsday scrolling, because the stuff that is happening is just so scary and weird and just like, I don't know. And I'm saying that's happening overall just in the United States. That's all. I'm not getting into the details of it all because it's like for what. But yeah, so it's that. So anywho, so I got myself up this morning. I watched a podcast, listened to the Mel Robbins podcast, and she was just like saying you have to start doing things in 5 seconds. That way you don't have time to kind of talk yourself out of it or, lose your motivation. She was just saying, like, a lot of people don't have motivation. It doesn't matter. It's just more so about getting up and going. So she was like, instead of laying in the bed, picking up your phone, scrolling, letting that bring your mood down, blah, blah, blah. You need to just hop out the bed, turn your swag on. Like, literally, get out the bed, turn your swag on, and get your day going. So, and if that's going to the gym first thing in the morning, then get up and go to the gym first thing in the morning. So that's where I'm at, guys. I'm at the gym. It is 7:30 in the morning. I do want to get back to my 5 a.m. workouts, and that is the goal. Today I did not have to get up at 5 a.m. because my husband's home with the boys and he doesn't have to work today. So that worked out for me today. But tomorrow, 5 a.m. workout. And the rest of the week, 5 a.m. workout. And luckily, My husband's going to be traveling this upcoming week, which is also kind of low-key giving me anxiety. But the win for me is that my dad is coming in town. So I won't be here by myself with the boys. Not that I can't handle myself by myself with the boys, but I will still be able to kind of move and shake and do what I need to do. And my dad will be here to help me. I do intend to vlog the entire week. Hopefully we'll do some fun stuff. I just kind of want to keep the boys busy. They have school all week. So yeah. On top of that, let me tell y'all about what happened at my son's school. This is for the moms out there. Now, I told y'all this be mom life. This is the mom life vlog, okay? So we're going to talk about some of this stuff. And y'all can maybe give me some feedback if you do have kids. And if you don't, give me some feedback on what you would have done or how you would handle this. Okay, so I'm going to tell y'all about this whole thing with my son in school. Okay, so my son, he's 8. He's in 3rd grade. He is very smart. You know, as a kid, I was really smart too. And I was moved into some gifted programs and stuff like that as a child. And so I see that same thing with him. He's very smart, which means he might be a little bored. I ain't gonna lie. Because apparently a couple of weeks ago, he was taking an exam or quiz, but a quiz that's worth a lot of his grade. And he was talking. Remember, he's 8 years old. So he was talking. Teacher gave him 3 warnings. And she told him he was going to get a 0 for the quiz because he was talking. Now, this quiz is one of the 2 grades that is worth like a good portion of his full grade for the marking period. And so when I saw that he had a 0, I was like, wait, hold on, a 0? And these two quizzes make up 30% of his grade. And one of them was a 0. So I read the note and she's like, oh, TJ was talking. So I told him, I gave him a warning and then I gave him a 0. And I said, okay, so as I'm reading this and I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, first of all, conduct and academics are 2 totally different things. Conduct is one thing. So I reached out to her. So I said, hey, I noticed TJ has a 0. I would like to meet with you as soon as possible to discuss this because I am very concerned that this will bring his grade down. And she called me and she's like, yeah, you know, I just wanted to make sure we had a conversation about this and blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay. So she goes on to explain what happened. And I talked to TJ about it. TJ said that him and another little boy were one of the little boys kept making faces at him and they were just being little class clowns. I dealt with TJ appropriately. He is on punishment, no video games for the next week and a half. You know, all of those things, like we talked about that being unacceptable behavior in school. When he's supposed to be quiet and pay attention, that's when he needs to be quiet and pay attention. You know, like we had a very good conversation about like this shit better not ever happen again, basically, right? So fast forward, I'm talking to a teacher and I'm telling her like, look, I understand. You took 2, they have dojo points. So that determines like how their behavior is and blah, 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 blah. So they earn points when they do well. They lose points when they do bad. So I noticed that she deducted 2 dojo points also. So I'm like, conduct and academics. Okay. So I'm like, all right. So he wasn't given I asked her, I said, so he wasn't given the ability to complete the quiz? And she said, no, he did complete the quiz. I was like, okay. Hold on, let me read to y'all. I'm going to read to y'all exactly what it was because I want to make sure that y'all have a full understanding of this whole conversation and what happened because, you know, like I said, I would love to hear some of y'all feedback. All right, so, hey, teacher. I'm just going to say teacher. I have some concerns about TJ's grades would like to discuss this as soon as possible. Are you available to meet this week? So this was on Thursday, and she said, and no, this was Wednesday, and they were closed on Friday. I mean, the kids didn't have school on Friday. So she was like, unfortunately, I do not have time to meet this week, but we'll be happy to meet next week. In the meantime, is there a specific subject, set of grades that you're concerned about, and what can I answer? I said, sounds like a plan. Next week works for me. I'm concerned about a 0 that he received on January 31st for a quiz that was worth a large percentage of his grade. I read the note, and it indicated that he was talking, which is not okay. And I have addressed this with him, but I'm at a loss as to why he wasn't allowed to finish the quiz. I'm sincerely concerned that his true grade is not reflective of his understanding of the subject, but instead of his conduct, which are 2 totally different things. Okay. She says, she's like, perfect. I'm available next week. Does this work for you? And she said, for the quiz, I would be happy to answer that. When we take quizzes, the expectation is for kids to be silent. And if they're caught talking or being disruptive, they will be given a 0, as it is disrespectful and distracting to those who are testing. I not only reviewed these expectations before the quiz, but I also gave TJ 3 separate warnings on top of that to stop talking. He was laughing, making faces at classmates to make them laugh, and making noises, right? On the third reminder, I told him that he would be receiving a 0. I still had him finish the quiz so that I could determine his understanding of the concepts. And you are absolutely right. The 0 does not reflect his understanding. It is a reflection of a rule that he repeatedly broke. And because of that, he received the consequence of a 0. When it comes to quizzes and tests, we are training them for the STAR test, which is their standardized test. And if students are caught talking at all, then they are not given reminders, but an immediate 0, and it's very serious consequence. So that's why they have that expectation set in class. She's still working on grades and hopeful that other grades that TJ have will help to balance it out. Yeah, no. That's what she said. I hope this helps, and I appreciate you reaching out. I said, we teach him that his actions have consequences, and we are addressing this at home. I've also reviewed his dojo points for that day, and he lost 2 points, which was appropriate. I have to respectfully disagree with the grade being reduced to a 0 for a conduct-related offense, as this 0 will inevitably pull his overall grade down, and he will be left trying to recover for the remainder of the year. Can you please provide the grade that he received for the quiz, right? So she comes back and she's like, I completely understand and I appreciate you following up at home with him. It ultimately comes down to us following our academic dishonesty policy. So now she's trying to indicate that he's cheating. So he's cheating because he's making faces. Okay. Because CJ was openly talking to other students during the quiz, which she originally said he was making faces. Now she's saying he was openly talking, right? It counts as unauthorized communication during an exam, which is a violation of this policy. His grade was 100, a 100, okay? So I can see he fully understood the unit on place values, whichever that is a math test, right? And I replied, this is disheartening to hear and confirms my concern that his overall grade for the marking period will not truly be reflective of his understanding of the subject. Would you be able to provide a copy of the policy? You want to quote policy, lady? Let's do it. Let's talk about policy. Send me the policy. So then she calls me. Oh, well, I'm so sorry. I just didn't want to take a break in between. I didn't want you to feel like I wasn't able to respond to you because I've been responding on my breaks. But I talked with the principal. Why are you having conversations with the principal? If you are following policy, this does not require a conversation with the principal. But right there, that's when I knew. I mean, guys, I have worked my entire career in HR. My job has been to follow policies, to communicate policies effectively and clearly, and to follow the rules, okay? That is what I've done my entire career. So as soon as I asked her for the policy and she called me, I knew she was on some bull. Excuse my language. Yeah, I'm still having a hard time understanding how these two things are the same. Kids get a grade for conduct. I said, even if he was taken away, told that he needed to finish the quiz in a different room, received detention, received any kind of other issue, he lost 2 dojo points. I'm like, so he's being punished in multiple ways for the same offense. Unacceptable. So then she goes on to say this is an academic dishonesty policy. And I was like, but how is he being dishonest? I said, I could see. And I told her, I said, the only way I could see him getting a 0 for this offense is if he was cheating. So then she's like, well, this does violate our academic dishonesty policy. And he was talking. I said, but he was not cheating. And then she was like, well, I mean, he was. And I said, no. Then she tried to insinuate that he was cheating. And I'm like, lady, you have sent me a long paragraph. And not once did you mention that my son was cheating. You also updated the notes in the app and there was no indication of cheating. You said he was making faces. Now you want to get on the phone with me because you're backed up against a wall because you're not following policy and you are doing the most. And now you want to say to me that my child was cheating. Nope. Sorry. I said Kendrick Lamar's line is going to be my line for the rest of the year. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy. Okay. I am not beat for the bullshit, basically. And so then she says, well, I talked to the principal and I have 2 options. 2 options. This is what she presented. She goes, I could give him his grade and put his grade in, but then I'm going to give him a referral to the office. Basically, that would go on his permanent record that he got in trouble. Then she says, or he can keep the 0 and he won't have anything on his permanent record. And I told her, no, like, lady, I don't know who, honestly, y'all, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't know who the she thought she was talking to. I'm like, oh, no. She must think I am stuck on stupid and that I don't have no common sense. But she got the wrong one, because we started going back and forth. First of all, she started the conversation with, I am so glad that you are involved in TJ's grades, and I want us to work to resolve this, to ensure that TJ continues to have a great year. Like, lady, is this a threat? Is this a threat? Like, is this a threat? Don't, like, I am not the one. And I think my ability to articulate myself clearly and concisely is one of my strong points. Like I said, I've worked in HR my whole career, and I have always had to fight for policy when people are calling me and cussing me out because something didn't work out in their favor or something like that. So, like, I'm just like the wrong person to have this type of conversation with. Like, you're not going to back me into a corner and make me think that I have no options because you said I talked to the principal. Lady, where's the principal? Put the principal on the phone. I cannot. So then she goes, oh, well, I know if you need some time to think about these options. I said, yeah, no, both of those options are unacceptable. Like I said before, and I reiterated, conduct and academics are two totally different things. I mean, you mean to tell me if my child has poor conduct that he should be getting all F's? Like, no. And mind you, she has sent me multiple messages about my son being an outstanding student, an example for other third graders, that he has like one of the top jobs in the classroom. He's the teacher assistant. So he's an excellent student, y'all. This is just him talking one day. Okay? Him just talking. And he's 8. Let's remember, he is 8 years old and he's a boy. Boys are going to talk. Like, my issue is not that he didn't deserve to be, to deal with the consequence or discipline, for the issue at hand. That's not my issue. Like, no, like I said, he's on punishment at home. He understands the severity of what he did, and I've explained to him that he better not ever do that shit again. We are there. We're locked in there, okay? Me and her, we're locked in there. Like, that can never happen again. But you cannot tell me that he has to take a 0 or he has to have a disciplinary thing on his permanent record. No. And so she was like, oh, well, you can call the principal. I have the right to da-da-da. And I said, okay. She said, and you can think about it too, because I know this is a difficult decision. And I'm like, girl, no, this is not a difficult decision. You're going to give my son his grade. Like, I'm not. But I didn't say that to her. I just was like, okay, because this is still his teacher, and I don't want him to have any issues with her going forward. However, I also don't play that. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I will take this all the way up to whoever I got to take it up to, because that's just who I am. Okay. So then I call the principal. She didn't answer. She called me back, right? And she's like, oh, hi. I was like, yeah, hi. I was like, I talked to the teacher and this, and she's like, yes. I did talk with her too. And I did explain to her that this punishment is more severe than what the district recommends. And the teacher does have the right to govern her class the way she wants, but the punishment can never be more severe than what the district recommends. And I was like, see, I knew that lady was on some. I knew it because when she called me, it was like kind of like to butter me up. And I told her, I said, she gave me 2 options that were both unacceptable. And she said, I explained to her that conduct and academics are 2 totally different things. And I told her that. And I said, oh, okay, good. Well, she told me that he could get his 100. I said, and he got 100. So I told her, I said, you have to understand how this could impact him long term, because that's my concern. My son is very smart. He gets 100 on 99% of his exams, unless he is like not paying attention, and he's 8. So there are going to be times when he's not paying attention. Okay. So like most of the grades he brings home are 100. It ain't even like we're talking like 80s, this, that, and the other. It's 100s, which obviously means he might be bored. Right. So I said to the principal, I said, you have to understand, like, if I wanted to get him into a STEM program, or, anything like that, because they do offer that in our district, I'm like, this is going to impact his chances of getting in. Like, his grade for the marking period is not going to reflect truly where he stands academically in this subject. And then on top of that, if this action warranted a disciplinary action that should be sent to the office, why didn't she do that at the beginning? Because my whole thing is, I asked her, I said, so if you send my son to the office, is that the precedent? Like, is that what you have always done? Or like, what is happening here? And she's like, oh, well, it's either or. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense, because if that's what you typically do, then why wasn't it done in the beginning? And that's my issue. Like, don't just be making up rules just for my son. And then I know that he's an excellent student in your class because you said that to me. So it's like you went 0 to 100. Now, mind you, what also pisses me off is this is on the heels of TJ having a bad day. And I talked to this lady the day he took this quiz, and she did not mention anything about that. He had a substitute teacher on January 30th. And so he came home in tears saying the substitute teacher wasn't being nice to him and all this stuff. So I reached out to the teacher and I was like, I don't know who your substitute was, but this is not okay. My son came home in tears and I'm not okay with it. So then Friday she calls me and she's like, oh yeah, I don't know who the teacher was. The substitute teacher was. Really, lady? I'm sure it's not that hard to figure it out, but whatever. I'll play along. And I played along. But this was the same day that she gave him a 0 on his quiz. So my whole thing is like, are you retaliating against my son? What's happening here? Okay. And then, she mentioned that we do all of this because of the STAR exam, blah, 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 blah. They did a practice STAR exam last week. What did my son get on the practice STAR exam? A 100. 100. So you mean to tell me that you're talking about all these rules for the STAR exam, you give him a 0 for a quiz that is going to bring his grade down, and then he gets a 100 on the STAR test? Like, lady, was he having a bad day? Like, I forgot. He has an orthodontist appointment, and I have a meeting with his teacher. Hey, party people. Today is Wednesday. It is currently, I wouldn't say snowing outside, but we definitely getting some flurries. It's extremely cold. My car is currently saying it's 17 degrees. Yeah. My dad should be getting here today, which is cool. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna go. My meeting's in 3 minutes. I'm gonna go handle this business, and I shall return. Hey, party people. So I just got back home from my meeting. It went really well. And I feel like we were all on the same page by the time we left there. And yeah, I just feel like me and TJ gonna have to have another conversation, because apparently he was talking yesterday too. And I'm like, bro, I'm not doing all of this so you can still go to school and be acting up. This is the mom life in your 40s-ish that I be talking about, y'all. I'm trying to tell y'all. Having kids in your mid to late 30s is not for the faint of heart, okay? You got to be one of God's strongest soldiers. You really have to be, because for real, when you young and you're a young parent, you be like, it ain't no big deal. But when you're an old parent and you just really want these kids to succeed because you know how crazy life is and you got a lot of wisdom, it's easier to get frustrated, I would say, because it's like, yo, you only have one job. Like, for real. I'm not sitting there expecting my sons to do anything extra. Like, just go to school and do a good job. That's it. Me and his father, we worked really, really hard to live where we live and to make sure that he could go to the schools that he goes to. And then you want to go to school and be acting like a class clown? Bro, no. But anywho, the teacher was cool. Overall, I mean, I still don't necessarily agree with everything, but I don't disagree either. And I want to be respectful of her classroom. And, if my son is not behaving, I have to address that matter at home, and that's what I wanted to make sure we're all on the same page, make sure his experience is still the same. But look at my countertop, y'all. It's a crazy mess in this house. Okay. So yeah, I started washing dishes earlier. But I did not finish. So I'm gonna do that after the meeting. My son thinks he's slick. Blake thinks he's slick. I bought him some candy yesterday, but I don't let them eat all their candy at one time. I typically have them break it up, right? And I don't let them eat candy for breakfast or anything like that. This little boy, I come downstairs today, he ate most of his breakfast and then go and look at me talking about, Mommy, I ate my candy. And I'm like, at 7 o'clock in the morning. God bless the teachers. God bless the teachers. God bless them teachers. Y'all, like, literally, you couldn't pay me to be a teacher because I just be trying to keep up with my own kids, y'all. And it's hard. And I know, I'm sure it's probably different when you're working. Probably have a different relationship and stuff, but Lord knows. Do you guys hear that? I don't know if you can hear that. I have my water running because they say in Texas when it's cold outside, which is 18 degrees, you have to leave your faucets like dripping so that the pipes don't freeze or something. I don't know. So I have on the first floor, I have the water in the bathroom back there dripping, and in our bathroom, I think.